Welcome to our deep dive into Mike Robbins's Nothing Changes Until You Do.
Okay.
It's all about self-help and personal growth, and we're going to explore how this can help us be more self-compassionate and lead more fulfilling lives.
Right.
But before we really jump in, I think it's worth pointing out all the different people who are praising this book.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Christine Carlson,
Okay.
who co-authored Don't Sweat the Small Stuff.
Mm.
She applauds Robbins' wisdom and genuine happiness.
Yeah, and Glennon Doyle Melton, the author of Carry On Warrior, really emphasizes how authentically Robbins embodies his teachings.
Okay.
And then you've got Lynn Twiss, who's known for The Soul of Money. She describes this book as a gift for your soul.
Man.
Though, that kind of suggests that this book is resonating with a lot of different people.
It does, yeah. And just glancing at some of these chapter titles, like, remember that a bad day for the ego is a good day for the soul.
Yeah.
Be real, not right.
Mm-hmm.
Give yourself permission to make mistakes.
That's good.
These alone just have me totally hooked.
Right.
So let's dive into the introduction where Robbins gets incredibly candid about his personal struggles.
Yeah. What really strikes me is his willingness to be so vulnerable right from the start.
Yeah.
He opens up about facing financial hardships and the complexities of parenting and even caring for his dying mother.
Yeah.
This just reminds us that we all face these human experiences regardless of what we've achieved or what we're going through.
It's true. And it's remarkable how he manages to weave these personal narratives into these larger themes of the book. Like, remember the advice that his mother gave him
Okay.
in her final days? She urged him to express yourself, forgive, and live with passion,
Wow.
which are such profound words when you're considering just how temporary life really is.
Absolutely. And those lessons become recurring motifs throughout the book.
Yeah.
He revisits them when discussing unconditional self-worth and the importance of seeking help and the pitfalls of comparison. It's this reminder that these concepts might seem simple on the surface, but they require constant practice and introspection to really resonate.
They do. And Robbins illustrates these concepts with some really memorable anecdotes.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, the time he was at Barnes & Noble. And
Oh, you mean the part where he was staring at his own book
Yes.
on the shelf?
Yes.
And he told the cashier he was supporting a local author.
Yeah, I laughed out loud when I read that.
Yeah.
Because I think we can all relate to that.
Absolutely.
That kind of struggle to, balance self-promotion with authenticity.
Right. Who hasn't felt awkward promoting your own work?
Right, exactly. And speaking of relatable, how about that anecdote about his daughter at the baseball game?
Oh, yeah. The one where she asks him why he doesn't play anymore.
Yes.
And it prompts this beautiful conversation about appreciating the present moment.
I know. It's so easy to get caught up in those future aspirations and totally miss what's right in front of us.
It's true. And Robbins uses these ordinary experiences to convey these profound truths.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Now, it's not all just heartwarming tales and relatable anecdotes. Robbins also offers some very practical advice, like when he discusses embracing powerlessness.
Yeah, that chapter really resonated with me. He uses his personal experience with hair loss to illustrate the idea that sometimes surrendering is the most powerful thing you can do.
Wow.
He even offers a meditation technique to help readers practice the concept.
Okay.
So it's very practical.
It is.
A way to deal with those situations that you can't control.
Mhm.
It encourages acceptance and inner peace.
I appreciate that he includes actionable tools like that because it just shows that, personal growth is about enacting change. It's not just about these fleeting feel-good sentiments.
Right.
And he applies that same practicality to topics like self-care and gratitude. He even delves into the science behind these practices.
He does. He goes beyond just offering advice by substantiating his claims with research, which lends so much credibility to his insights.
Yeah, it's like he's saying, here's the why behind the what.
Exactly.
This blend of personal storytelling and practical advice.
Yeah.
And the scientific grounding really makes nothing changes until you do a very compelling read.
I agree. What's really interesting is Robbins doesn't just focus on individual transformation.
Yeah.
He also explores vulnerability as a way to connect more deeply with other people, which is something that we don't always see in self-help books.
You're right. Like that story about Robbins revealing his deepest fears to his fiancée before they got married.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, talk about courage.
I know.
That kind of honesty is rare. especially when it comes to romance.
Exactly. It just shows how being honest, even when it's scary, can make a relationship stronger.
Right. Transparency and trust.
Mm-hmm.
Those are key ingredients for any healthy connection.
Absolutely.
And he really emphasizes that throughout the book.
He does.
And he doesn't shy away from tackling those tough subjects either.
Right.
Like the chapter about making peace with our bodies and appearances.
Yeah.
That one really hit home for me, especially with all the pressure to look a certain way these days.
I hear you. He uses his own experience of feeling self-conscious in photos and videos to show that even someone who advocates for self-acceptance can struggle with insecurities.
Right. It's not like we reach this point and we're done.
Exactly.
It's a constant journey for all of us.
Exactly.
And it's not all about physical appearance either.
Yeah.
He talks about the importance of trusting our intuition.
Right.
Even when it goes against what everyone else is saying.
Absolutely. Like that time when he's giving a presentation on appreciation.
Okay.
And he just feels this urge to take the conversation in a more personal direction.
Yeah.
So he goes off script.
Wow.
And asks the audience to share their own experiences with stress and gratitude. And it leads to this really powerful moment of connection with the group.
It's amazing how vulnerability can create these authentic connections in ways we don't expect.
Right.
It's so easy to get caught up in following a plan or a script.
Yeah.
But sometimes those really profound moments happen when we deviate from that.
They do.
It's a great lesson for anyone who speaks or presents regularly to just be present.
Right.
And adaptable in the moment.
Yeah.
And this applies to life in general, too.
It does.
Often the path to fulfillment means listening to that inner voice and taking a leap of faith.
Right.
Even when fear tells us to play it safe.
Absolutely.
It's about embracing the unknown.
Yeah.
And trusting that we'll figure things out as we go.
And speaking of leaps of faith, his story about sharing his writing with his mom for the first time was really touching.
The whole chicken soup for the soul anecdote.
Yeah. The one where he surprises her with the story he wrote about her for his birthday.
Yes.
Such a heartfelt gesture.
It is. It just shows us that expressing appreciation for others can create these lasting memories.
Absolutely.
And strengthen our bonds. And it doesn't have to be some grand gesture.
Yeah.
Sometimes those small, genuine actions have the biggest impact.
They do. A handwritten note or a phone call just to say, I love you.
Right.
Those things can mean so much.
They can. And those small acts of kindness can make a difference even when we're facing challenges.
Yeah.
Like when he talks about dealing with imposter syndrome.
Right. That feeling of inadequacy even when you've achieved success.
Yeah. It's so common, but nobody really talks about it.
I think we've all felt that at some point.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially when we're trying something new or taking on a challenge that pushes us outside our comfort zone.
Right. He normalizes that experience by sharing stories from his own life.
Yeah.
And from his work with clients who are incredibly successful, but still struggle with self-doubt.
It's a reminder that we're all human.
We are.
Regardless of what we've accomplished. And those feelings of inadequacy are more common than we think. And just knowing that can make us feel less alone.
Absolutely.
And he even talks about something that a lot of people avoid.
What's that?
Giving ourselves permission to cry.
Oh, yeah.
Not your typical self-help topic.
Right.
But it's so important for our emotional well-being.
It is. He explores how tears can be liberating.
Okay.
How they can shift our perspective, break down emotional barriers.
Yeah.
And lead to deeper connections.
It's like he's saying, embrace all of your emotions, even the messy ones.
Yeah.
Because allowing ourselves to feel those emotions fully can be so cathartic.
It can.
And it can help us to understand ourselves better.
Absolutely. And he reminds us that even in those moments of intense emotion, we can find strength and resilience. His story about dealing with his mother's cancer diagnosis is so moving.
It is. The way he describes that moment in the doctor's office,
you
can almost feel the weight of those words.
It's a reminder of how fragile life is.
Yeah.
But also how strong the human spirit can be.
It's a powerful example of how, even though those challenging experiences are hard, they can help us to grow in profound ways.
They do. They force us to confront our priorities.
Yeah.
And appreciate what really matters.
And that growth often involves letting go of rigid expectations.
Right.
And learning to adapt to the unpredictable nature of life.
Absolutely. Remember that story about his attempt to create this stress-free book writing experience?
Oh, yeah. And then life throws him a curveball.
Right. He had this vision of this idyllic month dedicated to writing, and then their landlord decides to sell the house.
Ugh. Talk about a wrench in the plans.
It just goes to show that holding on to a specific outcome can lead to disappointment.
Yeah.
Learning to adapt and find joy amidst change
Right.
is such a valuable skill.
It is. It's about seeing those unexpected twists and turns as part of the journey, not obstacles to overcome.
Right, because sometimes those detours lead to amazing opportunities.
Yes. Like when he got cut from the Royals.
Oh, yeah.
Had to drive back to California, wondering what he was going to do next.
It could have been devastating.
It could have.
But it ended up being a turning point for him.
That was a pivotal moment.
It was.
It led him to connect with Richard Carlson.
Right, the author who inspired him to pursue a path of helping others.
Exactly. It's amazing how something that seems negative can actually set in motion a chain of events that leads to something so positive.
It's a good reminder that even when we face setbacks, there's always potential for new beginnings.
There is. Life has a way of surprising us.
It does. And those surprises are often for the best.
Even when it doesn't feel like it at the time.
Exactly. And those paths can be winding and unpredictable.
They can. Life rarely unfolds in a straight line.
It doesn't.
Which is part of what makes it so interesting.
Right, like that incredibly moving story about the birth of his first daughter.
Okay.
It's a moment of such joy.
Yeah.
But it also brings up these unexpected emotions for him.
You mean the one where he's writing a letter to his daughter and he's overcome with emotion?
Yeah.
And he realizes that it's connected to his father's death.
It's powerful. It shows how all of our experiences are interconnected, how joy and sorrow can exist together,
right,
and how seemingly unrelated moments can resonate with each other.
It's a reminder to pay attention to those subtle echoes.
Yeah.
Those times when the past and present collide in unexpected ways.
Right, because all of our experiences shape who we are and how we see the world.
And to embrace all of those experiences.
Yeah.
Recognizing that even the hard ones teach us valuable lessons.
They do. It's about finding meaning and purpose in all of it.
In the totality of our lives.
Yes. Not just the good parts.
Right. And sometimes that means confronting those limiting beliefs that hold us back.
Absolutely. Those beliefs can be so deeply ingrained, often stemming from childhood or societal conditioning.
Like his realization that he had this deep-seated belief that things couldn't be easy.
Oh, yeah.
It's so easy to fall into that trap.
It is.
Thinking we have to struggle to earn happiness or success.
Right. It's like we feel guilty when things go smoothly.
Yeah.
Like we haven't earned it.
We might even sabotage ourselves to recreate those familiar patterns of struggle.
He talks about the importance of retraining our minds to accept and even embrace ease, recognizing that it doesn't diminish our accomplishments.
Ease and flow can be just as valuable as hard work.
Absolutely.
Right.
And sometimes even more effective.
It's a powerful reminder to look at those stories we tell ourselves, those narratives that might be keeping us stuck.
Right.
Once we identify those limiting beliefs, we can start to challenge them.
Yes.
And replace them with more empowering ones.
And to do that with self-compassion.
Right.
And a willingness to try new things.
Growth requires flexibility.
It does.
And a willingness to step outside our comfort zones.
Which can be scary.
It can be.
But ultimately, it's so rewarding.
He also talks about something that's often taboo.
What's that?
Money. It's a subject that a lot of people find difficult to talk about.
It is.
But he approaches it with honesty and vulnerability.
He does. He shares his own struggles with money. From growing up with a single mom who worried about finances to making some bad decisions as an adult that led to debt.
It's refreshing to hear someone be so open about their financial journey.
It is.
Without judgment or pretense.
Exactly.
He emphasizes the importance of being honest with ourselves and with others about our financial situation.
Right.
Seeking support when we need it.
Yeah.
And shifting our mindset from scarcity to abundance.
Absolutely. It's not about pretending everything's perfect.
Right.
But about acknowledging our challenges and taking action.
And that shift often involves self-forgiveness. That whole chapter on forgiving himself was so powerful.
It was.
It's a reminder that we all make mistakes.
We do.
And holding on to guilt and shame just keeps us stuck in the past.
He describes the process of acknowledging those mistakes, letting go of the resentment he felt towards himself, and embracing the possibility of moving forward.
It's an act of self-love and compassion.
It is.
It allows us to release that burden of the past.
Yeah.
And be present in this moment.
It's about recognizing that we're all works in progress and that we can make better choices today.
Right. We can learn from our past and move forward.
And part of making better choices is taking care of ourselves.
Oh, absolutely. That chapter where he talks about his own struggles with self-care.
Yeah.
And his decision to finally prioritize his health.
It's a reminder that self-care isn't selfish.
It's essential.
It is.
He shares his experience of starting a new fitness and nutrition program,
Mm-hmm.
not just to lose weight,
Right.
but to improve his overall well-being.
It's about nourishing our bodies and minds.
And he acknowledges that self-care doesn't always have to be some big thing.
No.
Sometimes it's those small, consistent actions that make a difference.
Like making time for exercise.
Yeah.
Eating healthy foods.
Mm.
And getting enough rest.
Those small acts of self-care add up over time.
They do.
Leading to more energy and resilience.
It's a reminder that self-care isn't selfish.
Right.
It's essential.
When we take care of ourselves, we can show up more fully for others.
Absolutely.
And showing up fully often involves recognizing what we can control and letting go of what we can't.
Like that story about the team meeting with his baseball coach.
Oh, yeah.
Where they list out all of their frustrations. And the coach asks them how many of those things they can actually control.
Such a great exercise in focusing our energy.
It is.
It's easy to get caught up in blaming others.
It is.
But ultimately, we can only control our own thoughts and actions.
Right. It's about focusing on what we can influence.
Yeah.
Not on what we can't.
It's a very empowering shift in perspective.
And sometimes that means having the courage to speak our truth, even when it feels uncomfortable.
Like that story about his friend Brian.
Oh, yeah.
The one whose father passed away when they were in 7th grade. Yes. It's a reminder that sometimes the most compassionate thing we can do is just to acknowledge another person's pain.
Right.
And offer our presence.
He was avoiding Brian because he didn't know what to say.
It's a powerful illustration of how authentic connection requires vulnerability and a willingness to step outside our comfort zones.
It's not always about having the perfect words.
Right.
Or knowing exactly what to do.
It's about showing up with an open heart and a willingness to connect.
And sometimes the most powerful way to connect is through gratitude.
Absolutely. Expressing appreciation for the people in our lives, the experiences we've had, the blessings we've received.
It can create this ripple effect of positivity.
Giddish talks about the power of practicing gratitude.
He does. Not just as a feel-good exercise.
Right.
But as a way to change our perspective and enhance our well-being.
It can be a powerful antidote to negativity.
It can.
Helping us focus on the good, even when things are tough.
And he even talks about the science behind gratitude.
Yeah.
Citing studies that show its positive impact on our health.
It's not just some fluffy concept.
No, it's backed by research.
And he emphasizes that gratitude isn't just about focusing on the good things.
Right.
It's about finding those moments of appreciation, even in the midst of challenges.
Absolutely. It's about cultivating a mindset of abundance.
Yeah. Recognizing the good, even when things aren't perfect.
And that mindset of abundance often means recognizing and celebrating our strengths. We all have unique gifts to offer.
Like his story about his college baseball teammate.
Oh, yeah, Jeff? Yes.
Who had this incredibly powerful swing. But everyone told him it wouldn't work in the pros.
Right.
He was told to change it.
Yeah.
But he refused.
He did.
He embraced his unique style.
And you know what?
It worked.
It did. He made it to the major leagues.
He did. It's such a great reminder to embrace our individuality.
It is.
And not let others define our potential.
We might not always succeed.
But we'll never know what's possible if we don't try.
It's about believing in ourselves.
Yeah.
And taking bold action even when we're afraid.
And sometimes that bold action means asking for help when we need it.
Yeah. It can be hard to admit we need help.
It can.
But it's a sign of strength, not weakness.
He talks about his own struggles with asking for help.
He does.
Stemming from that belief that it makes us look weak. But that's a misconception.
It is.
It can prevent us from getting the support we need.
He shares a moving story about being depressed in college.
Okay.
And finding the courage to ask his dad for help.
Wow.
It's a beautiful example of how vulnerability can lead to healing.
It's a reminder that we don't have to go through life's challenges alone.
We don't.
And sometimes those challenges can come out of nowhere.
They can.
And the people who show up for us in those moments might not be who we expect.
Like that story about the woman he met at a workshop.
Oh, yeah.
Who ended up giving him his first speaking opportunity.
Yeah. He'd just been laid off and was feeling lost.
And this woman, Christine, she saw his potential.
Yeah.
And gave him a platform.
It's a reminder that connections can happen anywhere.
They can.
And that it's always worth putting ourselves out there.
You never know who you might meet.
Right.
Or how they might impact your life.
It's true. And sometimes those connections can lead us to discover strengths we didn't even know we had.
They can. Like his story about being terrified before giving his first keynote speech.
Oh, yeah. He was so nervous.
He was.
But he pushed through it.
He did.
And had an amazing experience.
It just shows that we're often capable of so much more than we think.
We are.
When we push past our fears,
Yeah.
we often discover this hidden strength and resilience.
And sometimes those breakthroughs involve confronting those negative thoughts.
Right. Those gremlins in our heads.
Exactly. The ones that try to sabotage us.
Like when he forgot his passport.
Oh, yeah.
And beat himself up about it.
We've all been there.
We have. The
Yeah.
inner critic can be so harsh.
It can.
Yeah.
But we have to remember that it's not always right.
Right.
Helpful.
He talks about the importance of recognizing those negative thoughts and challenging them with self-compassion.
It's about treating ourselves with the same kindness we'd offer a friend.
Exactly. We all make mistakes.
We do.
And beating ourselves up about them doesn't help.
And part of that kindness is giving ourselves permission to make mistakes.
Yeah. Mistakes are inevitable.
They are.
They're how we learn.
Like his story about his daughter's learning to ski.
Oh, yeah. Little Rosie.
Yes. She kept falling down.
But she got right back up every time.
With a smile on her face.
She did. Such a great example of resilience.
It is.
And a willingness to embrace imperfection.
Kids are such great teachers when it comes to that.
They are.
They haven't learned to be afraid of failure yet.
So they just go for it.
They do.
With enthusiasm.
And a willingness to learn from their mistakes.
It's a reminder that mistakes are part of the process.
Yeah. When we're learning something new, we're going to mess.
It's inevitable.
The key is to not let those mistakes discourage us,
Right.
but to see them as opportunities for growth.
He emphasizes the importance of creating a safe space for ourselves and others to make mistakes.
Okay.
When we feel safe to experiment,
Yeah.
we're more likely to learn and grow.
Because when we're not afraid to stumble,
Right.
we're more likely to take risks and reach our full potential.
Fear of failure can be paralyzing.
It can.
But when we embrace the possibility of making mistakes, we free ourselves to pursue our dream.
With more confidence.
And enthusiasm.
And sometimes that involves trusting our intuition.
Yeah.
That inner voice that guides us.
Like that story about feeling drawn to ask his future wife out.
Oh, yeah. Even though he was feeling insecure,
he
listened to that gut feeling.
He did.
And took a chance.
And it led him to the woman he would marry.
It did.
Yeah.
Sometimes the most important decisions in life aren't made with logic.
Right.
But with that gut feeling.
Our intuition can guide us, even when it doesn't make sense.
And those feelings, even when they're scary, can guide us toward what's best for us.
It's about trusting our hearts.
Even when our minds are full of doubt.
And that often means living in alignment with our values.
Right. When our actions match our beliefs, we feel more peaceful and fulfilled.
Like his decision to retire from baseball.
Even though it was tough.
It was.
He realized that it wasn't serving him anymore.
Right. Even though it meant giving up a childhood dream.
It's a powerful example of listening to that inner compass and making choices that are true to ourselves.
Even when they go against what society expects.
It's not always easy to go against the grain.
It's not.
But it's so important for living an authentic life.
It is. Sometimes letting go of what's no longer serving us creates space for something new and better.
And sometimes that something new involves giving back to others.
When we focus on serving others, we shift our attention away from our own problem and connect with something bigger than ourselves.
He talks about the importance of shining our light, sharing our unique gifts with the world.
We all have something to offer.
Like that story about feeling like he didn't have anything original to say.
Oh, yeah.
When he first started speaking and writing.
That's a common feeling.
It is.
But it's important to remember that our perspective is valuable, even if it seems ordinary to us.
He got some great advice from a mentor.
Oh, yeah. Dan Millman.
Yes. He reminded him that everyone feels that way sometimes. And that our job is to just shine our light as brightly as we can.
Right.
Trusting that the people who need our message will find us.
It's about embracing our authenticity and sharing our gifts with courage and generosity.
We all have something to contribute.
We do.
Even if we don't feel like experts.
Our voices matter.
They do.
And when we share them authentically, we inspire others to do the same.
It's a reminder that the world needs our unique voices.
It does. Diversity makes us stronger.
It does.
And it helps us create a more compassionate and inclusive world.
And that generosity often involves expressing our appreciation
right?
for the people around us.
Taking the time to acknowledge and appreciate them.
Like that story about him writing a letter to his newborn daughter, reflecting on her arrival, the love he felt for his wife.
It's a beautiful reminder to appreciate those precious moments.
It is.
And to express our gratitude.
Those small acts of appreciation can make a big difference.
It can.
In our relationships and our overall well-being.
It's about cultivating a mindset of gratitude.
Yes. Not just for the big things.
Right.
But for those everyday moments that make life meaningful.
And that gratitude can extend beyond our immediate circle to encompass a wider sense of appreciation for the world.
Like his story about taking his family skiing.
Oh, yeah.
And being amazed by his daughter's willingness to try something new.
They were so resilient.
They were.
Getting back up every time they fell.
And having so much fun.
It's a reminder to approach life with adventure.
Yes.
And a willingness to step outside our comfort zones.
We never know what we might discover.
Right.
Or how we might grow when we challenge ourselves.
It's about recognizing that life is a journey.
Yeah. Not a destination.
It's about enjoying the ride.
The ups and the downs.
And learning along the way.
And the true joy comes from embracing it all.
It does. The twists and turns, the unexpected detours.
Life is rarely predictable.
It's not.
But when we accept that, we can find peace and joy.
In the present moment.
No matter what's happening.
It's about finding those moments of beauty and connection.
Even in the midst of challenges, there's always something to be grateful for.
There is.
Something to appreciate.
And something to connect with.
And trusting that the path we're on is leading us where we need to be.
Even when things don't make sense.
Right.
We can trust that everything happens for a reason.
It's about embracing the present moment with all its imperfections.
This moment is all we have.
It is.
And when we learn to appreciate it, we unlock happiness and fulfillment.
And those sparks of gratitude and joy make life worth living.
They do.
So what can we take away from all of this? From our deep dive into Mike Robbins' bedside? Nothing changes until you do.
For one thing, it reminds us that personal growth is a journey.
It's not a one-time event.
It's ongoing. It's about self-compassion and vulnerability and understanding ourselves and our place in the world.
And letting go of perfectionism.
Yes.
Embracing the messy beauty of being human.
We're all works in progress.
And that's okay.
And recognizing that we're always learning and growing and evolving. You know, there's always something new to discover and ways to become a better version of ourselves.
Yeah. And finding the courage to speak our truth and to ask for help when we need it and connect with people on a deeper level.
Absolutely. Authenticity and vulnerability are so essential for a fulfilling life.
They are.
Yeah.
And embracing those moments of joy and gratitude and connection, that's what makes life meaningful.
It does. And when we focus on the good and the positive, we attract more of that into our lives.
It's true. And it's about trusting our intuition, taking risks, pursuing our passions with enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Life is an adventure.
It is.
And when we approach it with curiosity and excitement,
well,
the possibilities are endless.
They are. And even when we face challenges, there's always potential for growth and transformation.
There is. Challenges can be opportunities for growth.
They can.
And when we see them that way, we come out stronger and more resilient.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's about cultivating a mindset of abundance, appreciating the good and finding ways to give back.
When we focus on what we have instead of what we lack, we create this sense of abundance and gratitude.
That permeates everything.
And it's about recognizing our interconnectedness.
Yes.
We're all part of something bigger than ourselves. When we support each other, we create a more compassionate world.
A more loving world.
It's true. And embracing the present moment with all its imperfections.
This moment is all we have.
And when we appreciate it,
Yeah.
we find true happiness and fulfillment.
And those sparks of gratitude and joy that make life worth living.
So as promised, let's wrap up with 10 key takeaways from Nothing Changes Until You Do.
Okay.
Just to help you on your personal growth journey.
Sounds good.
The first is to focus on what truly matters.
Okay.
It's easy to get distracted.
It is.
But it's important to identify our values and prioritize the things that bring us joy.
Absolutely.
Number 2 is to remember that a bad day for the ego is a good day for the soul.
Right. Challenges and setbacks are inevitable.
But they're often the best opportunities for growth.
They can be. Embracing those moments with humility and a willingness to learn can lead to amazing transformation.
Number 3 is to remember that you're valuable just because you are.
Our worth isn't tied to our achievements or possessions.
Or what other people think of us.
Right.
Cultivating that unconditional self-love is so important.
It is.
Number 4 is to be gentle with yourselves.
Okay.
We all make mistakes.
We do.
And we need to treat ourselves with kindness and understanding.
Absolutely. Not self-criticism.
Number 5 is to ask for help.
Right.
We don't have to go through tough times alone.
It's a sign of strength.
To reach out.
Not weakness.
Number 6 is don't get caught in the comparison trap.
Comparing ourselves to others just leads to unhappiness.
Focus on your own unique journey.
Exactly.
Number 7 is to be real, not right.
Okay. Letting go of the need to be right all the time can really free us.
You can't.
Embrace authenticity and vulnerability.
It's about connecting with people,
Yeah.
not winning arguments.
Number 8 is to love yourself. And the rest will follow.
When we love and accept ourselves,
we
attract positive experiences into our lives. Number 9 is don't take yourself too seriously.
Right.
Life is meant to be enjoyed.
It is. Find the humor.
Yeah.
Laugh a little.
Laughter's the best medicine.
It is.
And finally, number 10 is to give yourself permission to make mistakes.
Okay.
Mistakes are inevitable.
They are.
And they're an important part of learning.
See them as opportunities for growth.
Not failures.
Right.
Wow. So much wisdom packed into one book.
There is.
Robbins offers so many insights and practical tips for cultivating self-compassion, embracing vulnerability, and living a more fulfilling life.
It's a reminder that the journey really begins when we apply these insights to our own lives.
Right. Knowledge without action is meaningless.
Exactly. So take what you've learned and put it into practice.
So here's a thought-provoking question inspired by the book.
Okay.
What's one area of your life where you could benefit from being more gentle with yourself? We encourage you to reflect on that question and consider what changes you might want to make. Until next time, fellow deep divers, keep exploring, keep growing, and keep embracing that incredible journey of self-discovery.